we had a planned run out to Ruddington Heritage Centre, and Mindy's lovely woolly jumper that she wears, she would not start. I think it's just because she's a mardy cow. It's an absolute pig to get to.
Idiot.
And we're going to try it and see what she does. No. Something definitely isn't right. Hi guys, welcome back to another one. So in this video we're going to have a look at Mindy the Midget. We're going to see why she wouldn't start. Now most of you may be aware, and if you're not, on the 3rd of December we had a planned run out to Ruddington Heritage Centre, and all was prepped and good to go, but unfortunately when we took the carcoon off and Mindy's lovely woolly jumper that she wears, she would not start. She was having none of it. I flattened 3 batteries, I checked everything. We were getting spark, fuel, there was compression, everything was working fine, but it wouldn't start. So we need to try and work out what is happening and why she's not playing the game. And I think it's just because she's a mardy cow, and she didn't want to go out in the cold. I swear it has a soul, this car. Right, as you've probably seen by that little bit of time lapse there, this book had gone everywhere and I just found it. I have got it in PDF, but it's easier sometimes to read it in paper. So we've just put it back together, and we're going to go through it now, find the choke setting, because this is what I use to set up the normal running temperature of the vehicle, and all of that works. So it's just the choke I want to check. I may have got it set right, but it won't hurt to check it before I start it, so we're going to do that now. Right, so the first thing we need to ascertain is what the choke is actually doing. What we need to do first, the dash pots have got oil in them. I saw somebody on, I think it was either Facebook or something, that had painted these yellow and made Lego heads.
Oh my god.
So they look like Lego heads. It was quite cool. Right, so the choke, you know which one the choke is, don't you?
Yeah, that's
right.
one.
So to lock it, you pull it out and you twist it.
Yeah.
But you don't need to put much pressure into it. But we shouldn't need to lock it at the minute.
Okay.
So if you pull it all the way out, so that gauges your full lock, yeah?
Okay. Is it supposed to be that stiff?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So let it go.
It's not going all the way back.
Right, pull it about halfway. Okay, continue to pull it slowly. The jets have moved at that point.
I would say that's... I'll pull it all the way, but I would say that's about 2/3.
Okay. That's full.
That's full.
So they may be being pulled out a little too late then. Okay, and off. And they are returning. They're going back up. I'll take this air filter off so I can get access to it. It's going to be 9/16, I think. Oh, got it right. Check that out. I want you to pull it out about halfway.
Okay.
Is that about half, yeah?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, lock it off there, Pet. It's a pig to get into. What I'm going to do is back that off. Okay, take the choke off, Pet. That shouldn't be touching at all, which it isn't. The manual said that it needs to, as you pull the choke out, it should only be increasing the RPM, yeah? And now I should just adjust them so they're just touching the cam. That's the theory.
When the choke's off?
With the choke's off, yeah.
Okay.
So choke is all the way in, yeah?
It is, yeah.
I can't hear you.
It is, yes. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to reroute that cable because it's coming up around the battery cable.
Okay.
So I think some of the reason why the choke cable is so hard to pull is the way that it's routed, which can only be my fault. Now you've got to see this because the dog is such an idiot, right? He's got massive separation issues and he can't bear to be away from us, even though he's just there. Now, there you go. What he does is he sits at the window, pawing it and whining. What a twat.
Idiot.
Right then. So we've checked that the carbs choke was set correctly and it was slightly out. I don't think it was enough to actually make a difference, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So I've set the choke up completely, rerouted the cable because the cable was slightly twisted, and we're going to try it and see what she does. I've checked oil and water, everything's fine. She's all decorated for the Christmas thing that we were supposed to do.
And
But she wouldn't have it. So
she's just ungrateful.
I've just read instructions of how best to start a car, and yeah, because if it was Maggie, it would have just, you know, if the engine was in it, I would have turned the key, tiniest little bit of choke, it would have just fired. But I'm going to give it half choke and then try it. Fingers crossed. Let the fuel pump prime, and then go. No. So I think there's a good chance we've actually killed the battery because it's turning over slower than it's supposed to. So we may have killed the battery. That shouldn't stop it from starting, so I'm just going to come out a little tiny bit on the choke to the point where it's bringing the jets down, see if that makes any difference.
That's it. That's all she's given you.
She's clearly not happy. But all I did was literally pull the choke out to the point where the jets were just a little bit down. So it could be now that it's getting too much fuel. So I'll just knock that back again a little bit. And now it's doing the same as it did before. It just coughs and splutters and wouldn't start. I've come off the choke now, well, taken a bit more off. See, something is not quite right. Let's give it a little bit more choke. Right, choke off. See, it can't be a spark issue.
Is that choke off?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap the carburetors and see if the needles are stuck. Oh, undignified exit. Right. I didn't film that because we were just doing a battery change on the camera.
He's just impatient. He couldn't wait for it to come back out.
I can assure you that's not the case. I See, she's still doing it, but I've just tapped the front carburetor's float bowl. I think that's our problem. Whoops.
Oh.
Okay, maybe it's not then. I mean...
Well, you must have done something.
All I did was I turned the key to see if we were getting fuel, because this gasket's ripped.
Uh-oh.
So all the front here was covered in fuel. So I turned it on to the point where I could see if it was seeping out here. So I turned the key while trying to look, and it fired. Same again. And literally all I did was tap that. The fuel pump isn't continuously priming, so it's almost as if the needle is stuck and it's dropping down, and then as it's coming back under pressure again, it's sticking. The car's running fine, but as soon as the float chamber runs out of fuel,
It's cutting out and
it's
dying.
cutting out again. So I don't think we've got any choice but to take these float chambers off. We'll turn the ignition on, and then I can see if fuel is getting past the needle. The problem is as soon as I take it out here, it'll probably drop down. But we need to see whether it's sticking.
So, I mean, are these part of some kind of like routine maintenance or what?
No, not really.
Should you take these apart periodically to clean them, or I don't...
Well, I guess it's the same with everything on these old cars, isn't it?
Essence of petrol.
But if you remember, I mean, the float bowl is full of fuel.
So it should have been running.
Should have been running. So this little brass bit in here has got a needle inside it. It's probably not going to focus because these cameras aren't good for these things. But anyway, it's a little needle just down here. You can't see it. And it's supposed to... Oh, it's moved now. Maybe it wasn't stuck then.
I thought you said it wasn't moving.
It wasn't, but I had it there. It relies on gravity, doesn't it? Now, the float bowl is full of fuel. Now, if I turn this on, fuel should come out of that. And is it sealing? If I hold that, I don't think I can get to the key. Yeah, so the needle is seating. Yeah, so for some reason it's not getting fuel. So the fuel is coming up into the float chamber. We know that it's crossing from the other carburetor into this one. So the way that it works, if you don't know, the float on the nearest to the driver will come up, the needle will go into place, seal, and then that allows the fuel then to go over and transfer to the front carburetor float bowl. The float bowl itself will then give enough fuel to be able to run even though they're going down at different levels. So we know that it's coming from the back to the front, no problem at all. But it doesn't appear to be hitting that carburetor. Why? And just make sure that we've still got spark. Turn the ignition on. Obviously the right thing to do is use a screwdriver that we've just submerged in petrol, and then, you know, stick it on an electrical contact that gives out a lot of voltage. That's definitely the right way to deal with it. So you might be able to hear that clicking, if you can hear it, is the spark. However, it's not very good. It is sparking, but it's not good. We're not getting a very powerful spark, and the spark's too weak. But then why would it run?
But it was running fine when it did run, so the
Yeah, but
spark must be okay.
You can't completely rule it out.
No, but you've definitely got an issue with fuel.
Watch this. is going down. Let's get the spark tester on one of the plugs. Stick a spark plug tester on. Now, what the hell has that happened? Let's just make sure we're getting sparks. So if you look at that red thing, it should flash.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, strong?
Yeah. And it's intermittent.
Yeah, well, it will be because it's going through, but is it?
Well, you can see it.
Yeah, okay. Something strange is happening with Mindy. Now, we've just watched that. I don't know how much you can see through the camera, it's really hard to tell. But we're getting a spark, but it's very weak, and then it goes bang, big spark, then really weak, then bang, big spark, and then really weak. And the ones that go bang is the ones where the car is coughing. So I'm wondering whether the condensers had it, or potentially we've just got a weak set of points. So in there somewhere I've got another set of points because I keep everything and I'm weird. I've also got the points off the Moggy. I know the distributor's different, but the points are the same. So I'm going to hunt through here now, and we're going to try and find another set of points. We'll stick them on there and see if it's any different. Either way, if it is that, I need a set of gaskets and for the carburetors, and I also need a set of points if that's the case. So we've still got to try and get hold of those. So we're going to take the old points off and stick the old points on. It's got other gears. Yeah, I'll have to set the point gap up again, obviously, because we've disturbed it. So God, I don't think he knows how to use another gear.
Here's a courier.
Ah, that'll be why.
It sounds better.
Yeah, it does sound better. Okay, so we're now going to set the points gap. So the ignition's off, isn't it?
I'm going to just double check. I believe it is. Yes.
Very good. Okay, so
Better safe than sorry.
we the gap has to be precise, well, within a range, but it can't be wide open and too small, otherwise it won't gain the correct gap. If I tighten that up now, we should have a little bit of a dragging sensation, which we do. Rotor arm on. That's now locked in place. I've got the spark plug tester on there just so we can see if it's sparking. I've got to be careful because obviously
is
the
that
fuel
going
is...
to continue
No, it shouldn't do.
pissing fuel out?
It's sparking.
It's still a bit lumpy though. I feel it.
Yeah, that could be because the I'll bring the idle up a bit.
Whatever you've done, she's not happy.
That spark is weakening off.
Yeah, I said that.
Okay, so let's try something else. Let's try the old coil on it and see if that improves it. Okay, so that was slightly better, but as you bring the revs up, the spark was getting weaker. So I'm going to try just hooking up the old coil and see if that makes any difference. It may not. Just see if that gives us any better results. I'm not saying it will, but you know, it's good to rule out all possible options, isn't it? So it did seem to fire up a little bit better, but there was no real difference. So I'm going to try a different HT lead, King lead, and see if that makes any difference. Okay, so we now seem to have gone backwards and it's not starting again. Right, you see, this is the annoying thing, it's as smooth as silk when it's running properly. So I'm pretty confident that the problem is the ignition system. We put new coil on, that did seem to make a little bit of a difference. I've also then put the old coil back on it and it's better. Now I have got the full electronic ignition system on the Moggy. I'm just wondering whether we could put electronic on it. Okay, weird things are happening. So we've changed the points, we've changed the HT lead, and I put the old coil on and it started straight away, didn't even hesitate. I've put the newer coil back on, the one that was in the car, and now it's starting, but it's hesitating. It's not hesitating, sorry.
It's hunting a little.
It's hunting. So I think there's something definitely wrong with the coil, but we're going to test that. So what we're going to do is we're going to eat,
have a sandwich,
yeah, and have a cup
and
of tea.
a cup of tea.
We're going to take the coils off, take it into the garage, and I'll test them in there. So that's the next thing we're going to do, but first we're going to eat and have a drink. Right, update. It's running.
Finally.
So what did we discover? Well, we first of all we went through all of the bits and bobs to try and work out whether there was a coil issue. We tried 3 different coils on it and it made no real difference. It did, and then it didn't, and then it did again, and then it didn't.
It just kept making no sense.
Yeah, no sense whatsoever.
So it's just giving it some more fuel.
I have to keep force feeding it fuel. Yeah, so what we did is I thought, well, maybe it's the points, so I changed the points over, as you saw. And it kind of made a difference, and then it didn't, and then it did, and then it didn't again. So I changed the HT leads, and then it made a difference, and then it didn't. So you see the pattern emerging.
Well, I mean, it was running really nicely while I was inside.
Yeah.
And then I came out, and then it wouldn't work again.
Yeah. So I think either Mindy is allergic to Eileen, or
she's maybe jealous.
Anyway, so what I did is I thought, right, okay, maybe we've got an issue with the electronic system, let's replace the lot. So we went and we checked to see if we could order or at least go and collect new parts, which we can. There is a local company that seems to have them in stock. Same with the gaskets, which is good news. Now, then it suddenly dawned on me, what if the distributor is actually the faulty part? So I thought, I wonder if you can fit a 25D to a 45D, and the conclusion, sorry, a 25D in place of a 45D. And the conclusion we came to with all of the gumph on the internet is, yes, you can. It's basically the same. So I thought, right, I'll take the one off the Moggy, which is an electronic ignition system, and we can rule out whether it's that. It turns out it's not a 25D at all. It's actually a 45D. So when I ordered the kit, they sent me the 45D version of it, which worked on the Moggy. However, it was an absolute pig to set up. This, we dropped it in, wired it in, turned it on.
Like it was meant to be.
Perfect. I mean, literally perfect. It's never ticked over this well, ever.
Not this low.
Not this low.
She's always had to be a bit
she's
higher
ticking
in the
over.
revs.
Yeah, she's ticking over between 650 and 700 RPM, which is about where she should be. I've never been able to get it tick over that low. The spark, if you come around here, Pet, look how strong that spark is now. You'll probably have to go in. Yeah, the front, it's not actually sparking on every shot.
Yeah, we can assure you it is.
But it is. And it's a real strong, bright spark. And at the minute it's running on the AccuSpark coil pack, but only because it came with part of that kit, so I've kept the two together because it seems to make sense. So I think the conclusion that I can come to is I need to...
She's thirsty.
Yeah.
We still need
I need
the
gaskets
for that.
But as you can probably hear, it's perfect. And I'll get down near the exhaust. I don't know whether you'll hear it. Hopefully you can. I've never had it to do that. I've never had it do that. It's always been until you bring the revs up. It's not doing that now. Every now and then you get a and then it smooths out again. I'm going to take that as a win.
Maybe.
Now,
Got to road test it yet.
I'm going to put the carburetor back together. Yes, it will leak, but it's going to allow me to run around the block. And then I'll be able to see whether I've still got power and so on and so forth. Because when I did it on the Moggy, I managed to get it to tune up and tick over lovely on the drive. But as soon as you put it under load, it was a dog. It just wouldn't pull. So hopefully this runs properly. So I'm just going to screw that up now, take it round the block. Fingers crossed it's fixed it. And then all we need to do is I'll give this company a call, see if they've got the gaskets in stock and go and get them. And then we're pretty much done. Fingers crossed.
Oh, curb.
That's the best it's ever driven.
Yay!
Like ever.
Thank you, Moggy.
Yeah, well done, Moggy. It's not popping, it's not farting, it's pulling under every gear.
She's just peeing fuel out under the bonnet.
Yeah, that is a problem.
We'll get gaskets.
So great news, we've got it running. And it didn't actually take that much, to be honest. The main thing was trying to work out what the bloody hell it was. The good news is that it turned out that it seems to be that the distributor itself failed. Not sure how or why, but I can strip it down and have a look at it. But the mighty Moggy to the rescue. We've harvested her parts to give a 45D electronic distributor back to Mindy, and she's now running, like I said in the car, better than she ever has, ticking over better than she ever has. So a great success, I think, all round. All I need to do now is sort out maybe ordering another one for Maggie so that she's not without an ignition system. I do have a stupid dog that won't leave me alone. Will you, idiot? I have the original distributor off it with the original point system, so I do have something that I can put on it if I need to. But worst case scenario, we can have a look at ordering another electronic one for it. But we'll see about that in the future. Anyway, thanks for coming along with this little journey. It's only a short one, a bit of a weird video, but hope you liked it. If you did, give us a like and please consider subscribing. You know, we're over 520 subscribers now. It's a pretty impressive thing. We're all very happy about that. So let's let's keep the train moving and get some more on board. Anyway, we'll see you in the next one.